Okay, assignment AH1V, no calculators allowed. Answer all questions in the spaces provided. Number 1 says circle the calculation that decreases 500 by 6%. So to decrease by 6%, that means to go from 100 to 94. And if you want to go from 100 to 94, then the multiplier is 0.94. That takes us from 100 to 94. So we just look for that answer there. 500 times 0.94, there it is. Question 2. Simplify 2 cubed times 2 to the power 5. Now the powers, the law of indices says that a to the power m times a to the power n equals a to the power m plus n. So we add the indices when we're multiplying two numbers like that together. So in this case, 2 to the power 3 plus 5 is 8. 2 to the power 8. Question 3. Circle the area that is the same as 3.8 square meters. So you have to think, what is a square meter? Square meter means the square, which is 1 meter by 1 meter. And 1 meter by 1 meter, well, each meter is 100 centimeters. So each side of that square is 100 centimeters. And if we were to work out the area of the square in square centimeters, we'd say 100 times 100. So 1 square meter is the same as 100 times 100 is 10,000 square centimeters. So if that's 1 square meter, we want 3.8 square meters. So 3.8 square meters just equals 3.8 times 10,000. And we move the point 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So from there we go 38, 380, 3,000, 38,000. You can check that the point has moved 4 places from 3.8 to get that answer. Question 4. One of these graphs is a sketch of y equals 2 plus x. Which one? Circle the correct answer. Probably easier to think of in terms of y equals 2 plus x, maybe easier as y equals x plus 2, I think, because we're more used to having the x at the beginning, in which case we compare that with y equals mx plus c, and we see that m, the gradient, and c is the y-intercept. So here, m, the coefficient of x is 1, and the y-intercept is 2. So we're looking for a line with a gradient of 1, positive, and a y-intercept of 2. Those two have a y-intercept of 2, but it's only a which has a positive gradient. Just check that the other two don't work. No, because they haven't got a positive 2, they've got a negative 2 intercept. Question 5. The scatter graph shows the age. Let's make it maybe get a bit more onto the page. Yeah. The scatter graph shows the prices of 18 models of the same car. There's the price, and there's various ages. The ages go from 0 to 10 years old or 8 years old. So use a line of best fit to estimate the price of a 6-year-old car. So we've got to draw a line that tries to pass through as close, a straight line that is close to all those points. There's my first attempt. Looking at it, I can see that I've got fewer points above it and more points below. Maybe I'll just shift it a bit. Let's see, how can I do that? Maybe I'll just tilt the line a bit more that way. If I do that, then we can see that now we have similar number of points on both sides of the line. So that's a better line of best fit, and it says use it to estimate the price of a 6-year-old car. So we just have to look up 6 on our graph. Let's zoom in a bit, make it more accurate. So age is 6, go up to the graph. And then across, I come about somewhere around about there. 2,200, 400, 600, 800. It's between 2,800 and 2,000 and 3,000. So I'd say 2,900 would be a good estimate. But we can't be certain, of course. It is an estimate. Question 6. Laura is trying to work out, let's get it straight. Laura is trying to work out two values of p for which p plus p cubed equals 2. Her values are 1 and -1. Are her values correct? You must show your working. So we just check each one of these values that she's got. Let's try p equals 1 and substitute it into the expression p plus p cubed. We would get 1 plus 1 cubed. 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1, which is just 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2, which is the correct answer. So that is a good solution. That is a solution. Now what about when p is -1? Let's try that solution. Here we'd have p, which is -1, plus p cubed, which is -1 cubed. Take care with your signs here. So -1 for the first part, plus -1 times -1 is 1. 1 times -1 is -1. So -1 plus -1 is -2, which is not what I should get. So that is not a solution. So Laura, her values are not correct. Question 7. Work out 2 2/3 times 1 1/4 and give your answer as a mixed number in its simplest form. Sorry, 2 3/5 is 2 3/5. So 2 3/5, you change it to a vulgar fraction. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13 over 5 times 1 1/4. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5 over 4. Now we look at these two fractions and we can cancel a 5, top and bottom. So we're left with 13 over 4. But it does say give your answer as a mixed number. So that means 4 into 13 goes 3, is 12, remainder 1, so 1/4. 3 1/4 is our answer for number 7. Number 8, solve 4x minus 1 is less than x plus 8. So as long as you're careful, you can treat this fairly reasonably. I think I will add 1 to both sides. That's allowed without changing anything to the inequality sign. So if I add 1 to both sides, I get 4x is less than x plus 9. And now what can I do to both sides? I think I'll subtract x from both sides. I get 3x on the left less than 9. And then I can divide both sides by +3. The inequality sign stays the same, so I get x is less than 3. It's only when you're multiplying or dividing by negative numbers that the inequality sign changes. Question 9. The nth term of a sequence is 2n plus 5. The nth term of a different sequence is 3n plus 1. Work out the three numbers between 20 and 40 which are in both sequences. Let's say n is 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 5 makes 7 as your first term. The next one, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 5 is 9. The next one, you work it out, it comes to 11, and so on. We're just getting odd numbers. So it carries on to 19, then 21, and so on. every odd number. $35, $37, $39. I'm going to stop at $39 because it says between 20 and 40, so we don't need to go beyond 40. The nth term in the second sequence is 3m plus 1. So if n is 1, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. That's the first term. N is 2, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1, 7. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, and so on. They're going up in threes. So it'd be 13, 16, 19, 22, up by 3 every time, 25, 28, 31, 34, and 37, and 40. So work out 3 numbers that are in both sequences. So we've got to look for numbers which are in both these lists. 25 is in the second one and also in the first one. What else? 31 is in both of them. And 37 is in both sets. So my 3 numbers are 25, 28, and 37. Question 10. White paint costs £3.50 per litre, red paint £4 per litre. White and red are mixed in the ratio of 2 to 3. So white to red in the ratio of 2 to 3. That means you might want to use 2 litres of the white paint, which would cost 2 times 3.50, which would be £7. And 3 litres of the red paint, would cost 3 times £4, which is £12. So 7 plus 12 comes to 19. So 5 litres costs 19. 5 litres of the mixture costs £19. So in other words, 1 litre, I can work out 1 litre of the mixture will cost the total £19, and that's for 5 litres, so it's 19 divided by 5 to get the cost of 1 litre. 19 divided by 5 is 3, 15, and then 4, 5 into 40 goes 8, so it's £3.80. Says work out the cost of 16 litres of the mixture. So 16 litres, they will cost just 16 times £3.80. So I've got to work that out without a calculator. 16 times 0 is 0. 16 times 8 is 128. 8, carry 12. 16 times 3 is 48, plus 12 is 60. You may want to do it as a long multiplication, that's up to you. But either way, you should get £60.80. Question 11. The diagram shows information about the scores of Class 5B in a test. So score of 4 was obtained by 3 students. Score of 5 was obtained by 5 students. 6 was obtained by 6 students. 7 was obtained by 7 students. 8 was obtained by 6 students. Student is chosen at random. work out the probability that their score was the median of the class. So you have to think about the meaning of the word median. Let's write down those. Score of 4 was obtained by 3 people. So there's 4 for the first one, 4 for the second, 4 for the third. There's 3 scores of 4. Score of 5 was obtained 5 times. So there's 5 5s in my list. Score of 6 was obtained 6 times. So there's 6 6s. Score of 7 was obtained 7 times. So there's 7 7s. And score of 8 was obtained 6 times. So there are 6 8s in my list. So that's the list of all the scores for all of the students. If I count them up, that would tell me how many students there were. And if I count them carefully, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, 27. So there are 27 students in the class. So there are 27 scores, but we want to get the median. So you look at the 27, which means the median means the middle score. And the middle score is obtained for 27, means you're going to have 13 on the left, below the middle number, and 13 above the middle number. And then you'll have one number in the middle, which is the median. And that position there is the 14th position. So we have to find the 14th number in our list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That is my median there, and that means the median will be 6. But that's not the answer. The question says work out the probability that the student score was the median. So we've got to work out the probability of the score being 6. Well, how many 6s were there? There were 6 of them out of 27 scores altogether. We know there's 27. So 6 out of 27 I can simplify and get 2/9. Question 12 says ABCD is a square, CDEF is a square, so you've got that square, and you've got the second one, CDEF is another square, and DEGH is a rectangle. Yes, we can see that, it's a rectangle, and they join up to make an L shape. Yeah. Show that the perimeter is 8x minus 10. So P for perimeter equals, let's see, how many of these x minus 2's are there? ABCD is a square, so x minus 2 on one side means it must be x minus 2 on the other side. There. And similarly, the next one is also a square, and we know one side is x minus 2, so every side is x minus 2. And then what else can we say? Looking at the big rectangle there, I've got x minus 2 at the bottom. And is that everything? No, there's one more side I haven't put in. Oh, they're opposite. The x plus 1 is another x plus 1 on the rectangle, and another x minus 2 here. So now I've got all the parts around the edge, the perimeter. So I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lots of x minus 2. Then also I've got 2 lots of x plus 1. Now we expand the brackets and we get 6x minus 12 plus 2x plus 2 collect my like terms. 6x plus 2x is 8x, minus 12 and plus 2 is minus 10. And looking at what I was asked to show, it's the same expression. And 12b, show that the total area of the L shape in square centimeters is 3 brackets x minus 2 times x minus 1. So let's give these some names, I think. What should I call them? Q, R and S, I think. Yeah, let's do that. Q, R and S. So the area of Q and the area of R are the same, and then we add on the area of S, we should get the total area. So the area of Q, looking at it, it's a square, x minus 2 by x minus 2, so x minus 2 squared, and R is the same, that's another small square of x minus 2 each side, and S is the rectangle, and the rectangle is x plus 1 by x minus 2. So let's write those in as two brackets, x plus 1 times x minus 2. So now I can expand these brackets to get Q plus R plus S, which is the total area. X squared minus 4x plus 4, that's the first bracket, plus, now R is exactly the same, so that's x squared minus 4x plus R plus 4, and then S, going to be x times x is x squared, x times minus 2 is minus 2x plus 1x is minus 1x or minus x, and then plus 1 times minus 2 is minus 2. So collect like terms, x squared, 2x squared, 3x squared. Minus 4x, minus 8x, minus 9x. And plus 4, plus 8, 8 minus 2 is plus 6. And looking at this, what can I do with it? I notice that 3 is common, so I'll just write everything else inside the bracket. X squared minus 3x plus 2. I've taken a factor of 3 outside the bracket. But looking at the thing inside the bracket, hopefully I can factorize that. X squared is formed by x in the first bracket and x in the second bracket. And 2 is formed by 2 and 1. But I want minus 3x for the middle term, which is made up by minus 2 there and minus 1 there. You can check that that does work, and that is exactly what we were asked to show there. Question 13, circle the value of cos A. So the way of remembering it, some people remember it as SOHCAHTOA, for sine, cosine and tangent, and we're going to find the cosine of A. So cosine of angle A equals the adjacent over the hypotenuse. That's where the A and the H stand for, adjacent over hypotenuse. So looking at the triangle, the angle adjacent side is that 6 centimeters, that is the adjacent. But the long side is a hypotenuse, and we don't know what that is yet. Let's call it h. Then h squared, because it's Pythagoras' theorem, it's a right-angled triangle, so h squared equals 8 squared plus 6 squared equals 64 plus 36 equals 100. So if h squared is 100, h is the square root of that, which is 10. So h is 10. So adjacent is 6 over the hypotenuse is 10, we've just worked out. 6 over 10 as a decimal is 0.6. And part B, A similar triangle has hypotenuse 1 meter. Work out the value of x in meters. The most important word in this question is the word similar. Similar tells you that the angle is the same. So the cosine of angle A is still going to be 0.6 as it was in part A because the triangles are similar, same angles. So that 0.6 is the adjacent over the hypotenuse x over 1. So we just solve that for x. X time equals 1 times 0.6, which is 0.6 meters. Question 14. A prime number between 160 and 300 is chosen at random. The table shows the probability that the number lies in different ranges. Goes from 160 to 300. Then let's scroll down. Work out the value of x. So if we look at the table again, we see that all the probabilities are given except for one. Now, it says we're only choosing numbers between 160 and 300, so the sum of all those probabilities is going to be 1. Because when you add up all the probabilities of all the possible outcomes, the total is 1. But we know all of them except x, so I'll add those others up. When I add up the other numbers there, I get 0.8. So 0.8 plus x must give me 1. So x equals 1 minus 0.8, or in other words, 0.2. So x is 0.2. So now we move on to part B, which says work out the probability that the prime number is greater than 260. So if we look at this here, if we look at the last two classes, we've got that n is, we want to get greater than 260. You may be worried about the equal sign where it says there, but it doesn't matter because we know that 260 is not a prime number. So the first one that could possibly be would be 261 or 263 or something like that. So 260 cannot be, so it's okay. It's going to be bigger than 260. So we've got to combine these two classes, 0.16 plus 0.12 will give us the probability of being in one of those two classes. 0.16 plus 0.12 equals 0.28. Part C, there are 5 prime numbers between 180 and 200. How many prime numbers are there altogether from 160 to 300? So let's think, how can we do this? Let's go back to the table again. Between 180 and 200, we are told there are actually 5 prime numbers. Don't know what they are, but we know there are 5 of them. But we know the probability, we are told the probability of getting a prime number out of all this set is 0.2. So 5 out of the total must give you a probability of 0.2. So all I have to do is to solve this to find the value of n that will give me 0.2 there. So let's write down our working. What did I say? 5 over the total number of prime numbers, n, in that table is equal to 0.2. So I solve this equation and I get 5 equals 0.2 n, or in other words, n is equal to 5 divided by 0.2. Now that's tricky unless you can multiply top and bottom by 10. I get 50 over 2, which is 25. So there were 25 prime numbers altogether from 160 to 300. And number 15 says A times 10 to the power 4 plus A times 10 to the power 2 equals 27,270, where A is a number. Work out A times 10 to the power 4 minus A times 10 to the power 2. The way I did this, I kept looking at it and I thought in the end, 27,270, I can write that as 27,000. So I'm going to separate it as 27,000 plus the remainder, which is 270. And the reason I've done that is I've got the same digits in both parts, so they can be my A. So it's writing it in standard form, 2.7 times 10 to the power 4 plus 2.7 times 10 to the power 2. So that's exactly what they want, where I've got A to be 2.7. But they don't ask us for A, they ask us to work out A times 10 to the power 4 minus A times 10 to the power 2, so all I have to do is subtract. So I have got 27,000, that's the first part, minus 270, that's the second part. Maybe I'll write it in column form, yeah, like that. So 0 minus 0 is 0, 7 from 0 is 3, remainder 1, 3 from 10 is 7, remainder 1, 1 from 7 is 6, so it's 26,730 is our value that was asked for.